The underworld trembled. A presence, ancient and terrible, stirred in its depths. She, the dark goddess, had slept for centuries, her power coiled tight within her. No longer. A low thrum resonated through the caverns, a heartbeat of the earth itself. It whispered of her return, whispered of change, whispered of fear. Her eyes snapped open, glowing embers in the endless night. Memories, vast and ancient, flooded her mind. Betrayal, loss, a world plunged into chaos. She had a duty, a promise, to restore balance, to reclaim what was hers. Power, raw and untamed, surged through her veins. She rose from her tomb, a figure of obsidian and shadow. The underworld, once her prison, now pulsed with her energy. It recognized its queen. It bowed to her will. Her reign had begun anew. The Shadow King, a usurper who reveled in darkness, felt her return. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced his heart. He had grown comfortable on his throne of bones, believing her slumber eternal. He was wrong. Her power dwarfed his, a raging inferno against a flickering candle. He sent his minions, creatures twisted by shadow and despair, to quell her. They swarmed her, a tide of claws and teeth. She laughed, a sound that echoed with the sorrow of millennia. Her touch, a whisper of darkness, unraveled them. They dissolved into dust, their master's fear their undoing. The Shadow King, his arrogance shattered, groveled before her. He begged for mercy, promising fealty. But she saw only a pale imitation of true power, a parasite feeding on the world's sorrow. With a flick of her wrist, she banished him back into the abyss, a whimpering shadow stripped of his stolen authority. The veil between worlds thinned. Drawn by the plight of mortals, she stepped onto the human plane. The air tasted of their fear, their despair. It both disgusted and intrigued her. These fragile creatures, so easily swayed by darkness, were also capable of great love, great courage. She walked among them, a shadow in the night. Their world, a tapestry of vibrant chaos, both repelled and fascinated her. She saw their wars, their greed, their endless capacity for self-destruction. But she also saw their art, their music, their unwavering hope. A group of children, their laughter echoing in the night, caught her attention. They played in the shadow of a crumbling building, oblivious to the darkness lurking at the edge of their world. She felt a pang of something unfamiliar. Protection? Perhaps. These mortals, for all their flaws, were worth saving. Balance needed to be restored, not just for her sake, but for theirs. Baltimore, a city steeped in history and shrouded in secrets, called to her. Its streets pulsed with a hidden energy, a darkness that resonated with her own. Here, she could rebuild her strength, gather allies. Here, she could make her stand. She found them drawn to her, individuals touched by shadow and light. A young woman, her spirit ablaze with a righteous fury, yearning for justice. A weary detective, haunted by the city's darkness, seeking redemption. They were her eyes and ears, her hands in a world she no longer fully understood. The city felt different with her presence. A sense of watchful peace settled over its streets. Criminals, sensing her power, trembled. Hope, fragile yet tenacious, bloomed in the hearts of the downtrodden. The dark goddess had become Baltimore's guardian, a silent protector in a world teetering on the brink. Her journey had just begun,